Hello, Virgo. Please stop beating yourself up. Hug it out, bitch. Just hug it out. And this card comes especially when we're talking about yourself, because I'm very good at that as well. At beating myself up whenever I do something wrong, or I'm in a situation where I wish I wasn't. I would, beat myself up for it. That's not fair, right? It's not fair to myself. It's not fair to yourself. So hug it out. Be the one you need. Show yourself some love. And let's tackle whatever situation is in front of us with full force. Yep. Cool. Okay, cool. So, Five of Pentacles, this is the left out in the cold. This is the, you feel like everything is going wrong. I mean, he's limping, he's broken, injured, he's outside, it's cold, it's snowing. They have very torn down clothes. Life definitely, there are moments where life will make you feel that way, for sure. There's a reason for everything. So how do we tackle this? By embodying the King of Swords. So the court cards are like different personality traits, different skills, personality skills that we can use that are always at our disposal. Right? Same with the zodiacs. It's not, it's not good to see zodiacs or anything as, oh, I'm just a Virgo, so that's why I did that, No. They're all different, like in video games where you have stat points, or in every video game, none of the characters are the same. You always have, a character that's averages out in all its stats, kind of like Mario, right? You always have a character that's good in defense, kind of like Bowser, right? You always have an agility character, a ranged character, You could have an archer, and they all have different types of skills, different skills that they use. So now imagine having all of these characters at your disposal, and you can pick and choose which skills you want to use in whatever situation is given. And there's the court cards. It gives us all of the characters, all the personality traits that are available to us. And like I am a Pisces, right? So that just means that I have more of my stat points in a certain category, right? But at any time, I can take those stat points and put them somewhere else. Like Virgo, right? You all are very good at, keeping a pattern, at setting a pattern and keeping it. I, Pisces, I'm not good at that. I would like to do things spontaneously. I'm very bad at, scheduling myself out and being able to follow that schedule. That feels very rigid to me. It feels like a drag to force myself to do all of these things that I, scheduled myself to do. I would rather just do them when I feel like it, when the moment feels right. So, see, those are two different kinds of personality traits, and they're both useful in different situations. That's why it's not always good to be like a Pisces and just do things in the moment. Scheduling things out and having a certain pattern is extremely good. So, the King of Swords here. I'm going to read just a tiny little bit of the King of Swords, just so you can see what kind of personality traits you want to look for in yourself. And if you don't see them, well, they are there, so just bring them out. And you are very good at this, because this is disciplined, is the word, stern, analytical, responsible, clear, and logical. This sounds like you, Virgo. So back to the court cards, right? It starts out with the page, which is like a child, saying things for the first time with a lot of wonder and amazement. Not very skillful or good at things yet, but they are willing to try anything, And then it goes to the Knight, which is more of a go-getter, more of like a teenager, more of a go out and a lot of will and desire that helps you achieve your goals. They're the ones that save the princess, right? That goes and slays the dragon to save the princess. So that's what the knights are for. And then we go to the queen, which is about nurturing, nurturing either your emotions. In this case, swords would be your mental, your thoughts. It's all about taking care of a mom figure, And then we go to the king, which the kings have their patterns set. They have rules. They have the guidelines. They say this way or that way. And then to me, after going through all of those, you end up back at the page. Except the difference between the first page and this last page is that you have already gone through the whole circle. You've already experienced the page, you've experienced the knight, you've experienced the queen and the king, but you decide to stay as a page because, keep that wonder in your life. These are the adults who lose their wonder and, have their set ways that they think life is, but life changes all the time. So the page is good at adapting, but, so it's good to be like a kid, be like a child, but don't forget all that experience. Don't forget all of those things that you've gone through. Because it's not good, right? Like I was saying, just to be following rules all of the time. It is good to break some of the rules sometimes because every situation is different. So it's good to embody the king sometimes. It's good to embody that queen sometimes. It's good to embody the page sometimes. It's good to embody the knight sometimes. And there is something formidable about the King of Swords. He carries himself in a way that seems restrained, carefully controlled and disciplined. He focuses on facts and figures, and there is a cold, calculating logic to everything that he does. He makes decisions guided by principles and strong morals, and is unflinching when dealing with challenging situations, especially when it comes to your thoughts and the things that you are thinking, because we're talking about the swords here, the mental clarity. So now imagine being in a situation, but embodying these King of Swords characteristics. Sorrow. Prince of Swords. Alright. I like the way that this is going. So now we knew how to tackle the Five of Pentacles with the Queen of Swords personality traits. Now, let's see how to tackle sorrow with the Prince of Swords personality traits. So I'm going to read from the Thoth Tarot now. Or actually, no, let's stay with this one. Cool. Even though we're in the Thoth Tarot, we're going to stay with this one. And we're going to see what it says about the Prince of Swords. Because if you embody these traits, it's going to be easier to tackle sorrow, sad things. So the prince, right out, I said there was the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. But in the Thoth Tarot, he changes it up a little bit. He goes from the princess to the prince to the queen to the knight. And I like that change because the knight, how I said it's a go-getter, the one that slays the dragon to rescue the princess. Well, when you think about reality in real life, a king feels like that. They are just sitting down, making orders, commanding people to do this and that. That is kind of what a king kind of feels like more, And the king of in the tarot isn't really that way. Isn't the one that is just sitting down and telling people what to do. The king is more like a knight. That is how a real leader should be, not like our president who doesn't do anything. They just talk. Whoever talks the best and fools people the best is the one that becomes king. No, that's not how a king should be. A king should be the first one and the one in the front lines. A king should be a leader. The king should never ask someone else to do what they are willing to do themselves. And so that's why he changes it to the knight. The king becomes the knight in this deck. And I really like that because it does embody more of what a king should be. Not like how we see a king and how, presidents are and everything. Especially like right now, the president is just sending people to war just for their own political agenda, Like, there's no point in that. If he's going to send people to war, he better be out there fighting as well. Fighting for the people, right? Not just commanding the people. Not just demanding things out of them. Not just being hypocritical and expecting things from other people that you don't embody yourself. So we were at the Sorrow and the Prince of Swords. So this guy is determined, restless, focused, rebellious, swift, and decisive. Okay, now, when I say these words, remember to think about sorrow and sadness and how to tackle sorrow and sadness. So being around the Knight of Swords feels like being in a whirlwind. He is full of energy and razor-focused. He can be single-minded in pursuit of something, occasionally appearing ruthless. So that goes also with this sorrow. If you are single-minded and just focusing on this sorrow, then of course, you're going to feel like you're left out in the cold. Of course, you're going to see all these negative things coming from all this sadness. But if you are determined and focused on not focusing on this one thing, then that would help. So where in your creative or professional life could you use a burst of energy? See, that's where the prince has a lot of energy. So if you're focusing on this sorrow, well, this sorrow is also going to have a lot of energy. But if you focus on being creative on something that you love, well, that sorrow is going to disappear because there's not going to be enough energy for it, because the Prince of Swords is using all of this energy into tackling this other thing. So it almost seems like, putting it aside and not thinking about it. But, we still got to listen to the sorrow. We're not just putting it aside. We are listening to it, and then we are doing other things. We aren't just focusing on it. Interesting. If you feel like you have to focus on it, if you feel like if you don't focus on it, then it's just you putting it aside and not listening to it. Well, that's not helping either. Your convictions combined with external pressures can be strong sources of power and movement. How can you better harness that power to create momentum? Do you deal well with intense pressure? Do you falter, or can you let it motivate you? Fight for what you want. The Knight of Swords encourages you to carve out your own future. You may feel held back by others, but make sure you follow your convictions. Stand up for yourself and others. See, this is what the sorrow is asking you. If you are sad, there is a reason for it. Now stand up for yourself. This card indicates you may be passionate and articulate when it comes to championing causes. Your strong feelings can now aid you. We're talking about those strong feelings again. They are directed in the right way and for constructive purposes. That is how to tackle sorrow. Burden. Yeah. Integration. Cool. Yeah, this feels like a burden at whatever situation. All of this sadness, all of this being left out in the cold. It feels like other people aren't on the same page as you. Maybe you weren't on the same page. It feels like a burden, this thing that I've been talking about. But when you integrate these things that we've been talking about, when you integrate the King of Swords, when you integrate the Prince of Swords, so it's all mental, right? Sorrow, this Three of Swords, it's all mental. There's a lot of mental here. Even this is the Six of Swords. This is the Six of Clouds in that deck. But when we integrate all of this stuff, interesting. Yeah, hug it out, but especially when it deals with yourself. So swords, cups are emotions and our relationships with other people. But the swords are all us. It is all in our head. You you control your thoughts. You listen to your thoughts and you pick which ones you want to focus on, and those thoughts are going to keep coming back. And especially if you also put them to the side and you don't want to focus on them or don't want to, just pay attention. If you want to ignore this sorrow, And we're not talking about ignoring, because if you ignore the sorrow, it's going to keep coming back with more force until you listen to it. So it doesn't want you to focus on it and make this your life. It just wants to be listened to. Integrate yourself. It's not just about protecting other people. Make sure you are also protecting yourself. There's one thing that I've been learning how to do as well, because I am also like that. I've always put other people first. Everything I've done was for other people. And like me now, making this YouTube channel, I also am doing painted wood burnings. Here, I'll show you one. Like this Gyarados. All of these things are now things that I wanted to do for myself. And it's been hard. It's been slow because I'm not used to doing that. I'm not used to telling other people no. I'm not used to defending myself from people. But I am integrating that in my life, and my life I've seen a result. I feel better. I don't feel as, left out in the cold. I don't feel as anxious. I don't feel as depressed as always. My thoughts are being nicer to me because I'm being nicer to my thoughts. So be nice to your thoughts, and your thoughts will be nice to you. All right, let's get some last couple of words of advice. Okay, they add up to 20. Cool, this is my Divine Influence card. Interesting, yep. Make sure your thoughts are focusing on the right things. So in this scene, my Dunder Mifflin, the branch was going to be shut down. So Michael and Dwight decided they wanted to do something about it. So they went outside of David Wallace's house, and they were going to confront him whenever he showed up to his house. They were going to do something about it, about the shitty situation that they are in. And they were there, waiting and waiting. But David Wallace never showed up. They never actually did anything. But look at that focus that they had, the determination that they had, right? Their will. And other things happened, life happened, and Dunder Mifflin their branch ended up not being shut down for things that were out of their control, but they still, fought for themselves. They were going to defend themselves, yeah. And they had nothing to do with their branch being saved, but it was still saved. And we could say that it was saved because of their determination of defending themselves, of doing something about the situation that they were in. So that's all that matters right now, is make sure you are focusing on the right things, on the things that can help. And make sure you are having fun doing so. This is the all work and no play make Michael a dull boy. It's Cafe Disco. Look at how much fun Michael needs to have. Even though he's at work, they're having a disco. They're dancing. They're playing. They're moving that body. So, and that is equally as important as work. That is, if not more important than actually working. So make sure you are having fun. Focus on that fun. It's up to you. Do you want to focus on that fun and having fun, or do you want to focus on the sadness? Because life is gonna, focus on the same things you focus on. Like when I just saw a cool video from Bashar Daryl Inca. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's pretty cool, and I like what he talks about. But he said, like, if you stare at yourself in the mirror, right, and you're angry, you're mad dogging him, in the mirror, and you're waiting for the one in the mirror to smile at you, well, you're going to be waiting there forever. The one in the mirror isn't going to smile until you smile, right? And now when you're smiling at the one in the mirror is going to start smiling back. So make sure you start treating yourself better. Make sure you start defending yourself. Make sure you are having fun. And that is everything that I feel like saying. So thank you so much for being here, Virgo. I hope this reading helped. If it did, please help me as well with a like by commenting on a video. And you haven't subscribed, well, subscribe so we can keep hanging out, keep having fun. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one.